Hello everyone, welcome back to Beautiful British English. My name is Paul and today I want to share with you a technique that I use for taking notes, for writing down bits of information when I'm learning or listening to things that I need to remember. So this is a great technique which I thought you guys could use in your English language lessons. Welcome back. So today's lesson is not about English, it's about how to help you learn and remember what you're learning in your lessons a little bit easier and a little bit better. And I want to share with you a method that I use for taking notes during a class, during meetings, during presentations, when there's information that I want to write down and remember at a later stage. So this is great for vocabulary, phrases, particularly new vocabulary that you might learn, but also for technical information such as grammar as well. Okay, so I'll share with you the technique that I use. Yeah, it's not a technique that works for everybody, I'm sure, and there are many different note-taking methods. This is just one technique that I think works really well for me. Yeah. So what I do, okay, when I'm listening or taking in information, I get a sheet of paper or my book, okay, and what I do is I draw a line down the centre of the page. So I divide the page into note-taking and note-making. So I have note-taking on the left and note-making on the right. So I'm using two different verbs here, take and make. So note-taking basically means somebody gives you information and you write down that information. Okay? So somebody might give you a word, a piece of information relating to grammar, whatever it is, it could be technical details. Note-taking is when you take information other people give to you and you write it down. Note-making, on the other hand, is where you take some information and then you write a note to yourself on how you can use this information in practical ways or ways that are very specific to yourself. Yeah. So note-taking and note-making. Taking notes is you are just listening and writing down. Note-making is you're using your brain, you're activating your brain to analyze the information and turning it into something that you can use. Okay, now this works for me. I highly suggest you try this method just to see if it works for you. Yeah. So note-taking and note-making. So I've put a nought and a cross just to signify the note-taking and the note-making. No particular reason. This is just because a few minutes ago, before I started sort of filming, I was playing noughts and crosses. It's a game. I don't know if you know noughts and crosses. You have a grid like this, and someone puts a nought there. I might put a cross there, and then my opponent would put an O there. Then I might put a cross there. My opponent puts an O there, and I put a cross there, and I win. It's a fun little game if you have nothing to do for 5 minutes, and I was playing noughts and crosses. Okay, so the nought is signifying, in this case, note-taking. So, note-taking is basically you are listening to information. The information could come in many different ways. It could have many different forms. It could be something somebody says, just a quote. It could be specific details. In terms of languages, particularly, it could just be a word, a new piece of vocabulary. It could be an entire phrase or perhaps even a sentence. Or somebody might be, your teacher might be introducing you to a new grammatical rule, for example. Okay? So, note-taking is where you write down the information that you're hearing that someone is giving you. Yeah? Now on the other side of the page, under note-making, you need to start asking yourself some questions. So, what does this mean to me, specifically? how can I use this information, and most importantly, when can I use this information? So, for example, let's talk about grammar. If your teacher introduces you to some new grammar, let's do something simple, okay? Let's say that this is one of your first English lessons, and I introduce you to the English tense, the present simple. Let's just say, for example, I give you some information on the tense, and you write down some details here. So you might write down here, subject plus verb in the present, and I don't know, I'd probably give you some other details about used for regular actions. Okay, regular actions, which is probably what you would learn from most of your grammar books. Subject plus the verb in the present form, and it's used to describe regular actions. Okay, so technical information. Now, what does this mean to you precisely? Well, regular actions, you might understand regular actions. So what does this mean to me? A regular action is something I do every day or every week. So over here on this side, you might write something like every day, to remind you of a regular action, something you do every day. For example, I brush my teeth every day. That's a regular action. So then you might ask yourself, how can I use this information? Well, I can use this information to describe some things that I do every day. So things that I regularly do, things that I do more than once. Okay? And you put that information there. When can I use it? Will be another question. I can use this tense whenever I have to talk about repeated actions. Yeah? So you write that down, repeated actions. Okay? So this is just a good way of taking information that someone else gives you and making it into something that you use and is personal to your situation. Yeah? So under every day you might write brush your teeth to remind you of something that you do every day. Make it personal. Make this column or this side of the page very, very personal to how you can use this information and how you can remember this information. Yeah? So that's my technique. If you have any questions about this note-taking technique, please contact me. You can leave a message below the video. You can contact me via email if you want to. Yeah? Please do practice this technique in your English lessons, in your business meetings, in your presentations, when you're trying to learn and remember things in English. It's a great way to activate your brain and get it thinking about information you're given and turning it into something that you can actually remember and use very, very easily.